So, when you picture Dubai, what comes to mind? Probably those crazy futuristic skyscrapers, right? But one of its most important landmarks is actually a story written in stone. It's this incredible building that tells us so much about the city's past, its present, and even where it's headed. All right, let's get into it.
I mean, just look at it. The Jumeirah Mosque is, without a doubt, absolutely stunning. It is easily one of the most photographed religious buildings in the entire emirate. It's a top attraction for pretty much everyone who visits, especially at dusk when it's all lit up. But the real story here, the real importance, it goes way beyond just how beautiful it is. It's all about what it represents. And if you need any proof of just how important it is, well, just pull out a 500 dirham banknote. Right there on the back, you'll see this exact mosque. Now, that's not just some random design choice. Putting a building on your money, that makes it a true national symbol. It's a statement about the identity of the entire United Arab Emirates.
So, the big question is, how did this one building get to be so important? To really get that, we have to look at its design, because this thing is basically a masterclass in how to tell a story with architecture.
Okay, let's start with some of the basics. First off, the mosque was a gift from the late Sheikh Rashid bin Saeed Al Maktoum, the former ruler of Dubai. It was built back in the late 70s, made entirely out of this gorgeous yellow-pink sandstone. And it's pretty big. It can hold about 1,300 worshippers. But, those are just the facts, the what. The real story, the why it's so special, is all in the style.
See, the architects did something really interesting here. They deliberately mixed two major historical Islamic architectural styles. On one hand, you've got the Fatimid style, which comes from North Africa. You can spot it in those distinctive keel-shaped arches. And on the other hand, there's the Mamluk style from Egypt and Syria, which is famous for those super ornate minarets and intricate stone domes. So the Jumeirah Mosque isn't just one or the other. No, it's a very careful, very intentional blend of both. And this quote from architectural historian Kishwar Rizvi really nails why they did this. She explains that these choices, they weren't just about making something pretty. Think about it. By borrowing from these powerful Islamic empires of the past, we're talking dynasties at the absolute peak of their culture and art. The brand new UAE was basically crafting its own national story. They were using bricks and stone to connect themselves to this grand, historic Arab identity, to create a sense of having these really deep historical roots.
And then you step inside, and that feeling of historical grandeur just continues. The prayer hall is filled with these incredible columns in what's called a hypostyle design. You look up, and the ceilings are so colorful with verses from the Quran written on them. And the chandeliers? Just magnificent. Seriously, every single detail in here is designed to make the space feel sacred, but also to feel deeply connected to this incredible, rich artistic history. Okay, but the story of this mosque doesn't stop with the stone and the history. Not at all. It's also about a living, breathing mission, one that's summed up perfectly by its famous motto.
And the group making this mission happen is the Sheikh Mohammed Centre for Cultural Understanding. They're the ones who took this amazing architectural landmark and turned it into a real center for cultural dialogue. They're the ones who really put that open doors, open minds idea into action.
And this is what makes the Jumeirah Mosque so incredibly unique. It's one of the only mosques in the entire region that actively welcomes non-Muslim visitors. And this isn't just for tourism, not by a long shot. It's a very deliberate act of cultural diplomacy. They're using this beautiful space to educate people, to answer questions, and, to build bridges between different cultures and faiths. The best part is they make it super easy and accessible. You don't have to pre-book or anything like that. You literally just show up, join a 75-minute tour where you learn all about Emirati culture and Islamic traditions, and then it all wraps up with an open Q&A. The whole thing is designed to feel like a real conversation, not some stuffy lecture. All right, so if all this has you thinking, hey, I want to go, here's the practical info you're going to need to make it happen. Okay, planning your visit couldn't be easier. The tours run twice a day, 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. That's every day except for Friday, since that's the main day for congregational prayer. The whole experience lasts about an hour and 15 minutes, and they just ask that you show up maybe 30 minutes early to get registered. Simple as that. And just a few quick tips before you go. First, dress modestly. That means covering your shoulders and knees. For women, you'll need to cover your hair with a scarf. But don't worry if you forget one. They actually have traditional attire you can borrow right there. Also, and this is a big one, photography is totally welcome, so definitely bring your camera. And a little pro tip from me to you, try to go around sunset. The way the light hits that sandstone, it's just magical.
So when you put all of this together, the architecture, the history, that incredible mission, you start to see the full picture of what the Jumeirah Mosque really means for Dubai. Because at the end of the day, you can't just define this mosque as one thing. It's an active place of worship for sure, but it's also a stunning piece of architecture that honors a grand history, and it's a modern bridge, connecting all these different cultures through open conversation.
And in a way, this building perfectly captures the dual identity of Dubai itself. On one side, you've got the Jumeirah Mosque, intentionally looking backward into history to create this deep, authentic identity. And then, on the other side, you've got something like the Burj Khalifa, just soaring into this hyper-modern global future. It's like these two landmarks, side by side, tell you the entire story of the city's ambition.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? The buildings we choose to put on a pedestal, to celebrate, they're never just buildings. They are the stories we tell ourselves and the world about who we are and where we came from. So that leaves me with one question for you. What story do your city's landmarks tell?